Thanks for being here today. We work in the Career Development Center. My name's Maureen. Valerie, we both work together on the Alfred campus. And honestly, to start with, we did not plan our outfits today. But anyways, thanks again for being here. Time together, probably about 40 minutes or so. We're here to provide a training on student employment and the skills that you're probably building, right? Developing skills that you're working on in your on-campus job. So this is a big focus with the president. This is a big focus with the college, is the importance of student employment, right? And the benefits that they provide. So as we go forward, if you have questions, ask away. We're basically trying to elevate the importance of student employment and how good it is that you're working, right? How many here are working at least 10 hours a week? That's wow. That's impressive. How many of you are working more than one job? Wow, yes, that is really, really good. So Valerie and I, we are the employment professionals, so to speak. We work in the College Career Development Center. We're located down the hill, so to speak, in the Student Leadership Center. So we're gonna get talking today. We have 4 different student workers that we hire for our office, right? And a couple of them are here today. So they're gonna stop up real briefly and tell us what their work is like, maybe some skills that they've learned. They're both fabulous student employees that we have, and they're building skills. What we like about them is they have really good follow-through, they're positive, they have good demeanors, they're on time, they complete all tests that we ask of them, and they're fun to have in the office. So Valerie and I would very much give them references when they need it, when they graduate from here. So that would be Leslie and Trinity. So they're gonna stop up and tell you a little bit about what their jobs are and what type of skills they feel like they've learned through on-campus employment. Trinity's the first one. Yeah.
All right. Hi, guys. My name is Trinity. I have like several different jobs on campus, but if you guys don't know me, I am a senior. This is my last semester here. I'm getting an associate's degree in business, but I'm continuing like my bachelor's online. So specifically talking about like the Career Development Center, my role is kind of like a mix of like the front end and the back end work. So as far as like the front end, I would say like I've worked at like different career fair events and just helped like manage that and like be active in that. And then I also will do like tabling for the Career Development Center. Basically promoting it to students because a lot of them don't know where this is located at. To help them with like their resume or find jobs after, or even internships and things like that. And then on the back end, I do like a lot of stuff like on the computer, which is more so, it's not as important, but it is because without like doing that stuff, you guys really wouldn't see everything else like for the career fair and stuff like that. And I feel like, well, working on campus is important for me because obviously like I like money, so it's like that's the main thing, but also it has helped me like learn professionalism and work on my communication skills. And yeah, but that's pretty much all I do for like the Career Development Center. And yeah,
It's not all you do, but.
well, that's the most I do. But at one of the career fair events, me and Leslie, we did like a rotation of a pop camera. So we basically like told students to like come up to like our stand, and it was like a camera where you could take like professional headshots. It was a very like easy setup. They could just like scan the QR code and then it'll get like sent automatically to them. Yeah, that was really fun though.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Leslie Chavez, and I am a 4th-year business administration student. And some of you may know me like from classes or just like when I was promoting my club that I used to have. So that was Echelon Executive Club, and that was basically like the same thing that kind of like the Career Development Center does for us, but more of like a community and just like bringing students together and just having like giving you like the access to more stuff than usual, you know. In the Career Development Center, things that I do is basically I just work as an intern, and I've been there for about a year, and I just handle promotional events. I help with like the career fair, and it helps me just like basically learn, like Trinity said, like professionalism and also just like seeing what opportunities there is. Right now I'm handling like finding graduates and figuring out like where they're employed now, and it's really interesting because I see the different majors that have the most employment rates, so that's really cool. I see a lot of people that are in tech or engineering have jobs, so that's really cool. And I've also worked in other places as well. I've worked at the financial aid center, and I was just an assistant, just like scanning documents and stuff. And I was also handling like promotional events. I was making my own promotional events for them, a part of the AmeriCorps, which is kind of it's like another program that they needed someone to work for with SUNY. And yeah, I mean, it's great having a job on campus, and you definitely should want to have like multiple jobs so you can save up your money for when you graduate. I mean, it's not only just like to have fun now, but just think about like when you graduate, like how are you gonna get to your new job? Do you want a car? Do you not want a car? Do you want to get an apartment? Do you want to move out? So all of those things you want to think about and just structure yourself. Definitely like actually having interviews, not just mock interviews, but putting yourself out there is a really big thing, and you can't just wait until you like graduate in order to do like mock interviews and just think everything's gonna be okay. Like that's not how things work, unfortunately. But yeah, I've taken away that. I've also asked for a lot of feedback from interviewing, from other employers. Like I'll ask them like, oh, why did you hire me? Or what specifically made you like think that I was a good candidate for this role? So things like that. Other skills would be definitely like being more professional, and also like learning like technical skills as well too. Learning how to be in an office, also like learning how to manage the people that you're surrounded with, because it's not just like, oh, your classmates that you never speak to ever. Like you also need to learn how to navigate those dynamics as well too.
So yeah, so those were, all of you here, you're working on campus, give yourself some props. Don't be, I mean, I think part of the emphasis with today is give yourself some props. I mean, don't just be thinking, oh, I just work on campus, right? We're here to build that up into something more, that you are developing skills. Like our student workers has said, you're putting yourself out there, you're in a new situation, right? When people put themselves out in new situations, typically there's growth and learning, right? All right, so why does it matter? It's important to the college. We're employment professionals. We're always like, yes, this is the topic that we love, but it is really important. You can create connections. Maybe you make some friends during your job. Maybe you build really good connections with your supervisor and maybe other professional staff on campus. So building connections, you're getting to know someone else that comes from a different walk of life that's totally different than you, right? You're learning and growing. Again, I think our student workers mentioned as well, you're earning some money, right? Who doesn't like money? I don't know anybody that doesn't like money, right? Employers value this. Valerie and I work closely with employers that hire our students for internships and full-time positions, and they do. They value it, right? They're like, wow, you work 20 hours a week while in a 15 credit hours or more. Wow, you really learned how to manage your time, right? Meet deadlines, get things done. So they do. They really do value it. So think about it that way. Building skills. As you sit here today, right? Think about the skills, right? Things that you're good at. Maybe that you're learning not only through coursework here, but also through your on-campus job or multiple on-campus jobs, right? So skills could be like a knowledge that you have, something that you learned that's new, right? Think about it that way, so as we go through this today. All right, so speaking of skills, this is also known as career readiness, also known as top 8 skills employers are seeking in new college grads. So again, there's top 8 skills. Communication's one of them. Everyone's heard of communication, right? What do they mean by communication? Could be a lot of things. Could be Can you follow directions? Can you do public presentations? Are you good at writing, right? So this is a survey that's done every year by NACE. And what they do is they ask employers that regularly hire new college grads, they ask them, what are the skills that you're looking for in new college grads? And this is what they say. So these are employers asking these questions. So communication is one, critical thinking, you've heard of that, right? Problem solving, right? You're probably doing that a lot. They're looking for that. They're looking for professionalism, right? And again, both of our student workers had mentioned that. So yeah, some other ones, teamwork. What college athletes are here? Teamwork, very good. What college athletes are here and you're also working? Wow, nice, even that more impressive. So you're familiar with that. So teamwork, working with others, right, towards a common cause. Technology, employers are looking for new graduates that have the most recent technology in their particular field or niche, right? So students that are enrolled in business, that technology that you're learning or that you actually are skilled in already and are developing is going to be different than someone that's in architecture or engineering or IT or the skilled trades curriculums on the Wellsville campus. So just being aware of what the technology is that you are building skills in is really important. All right, so that's the top 8 skills, also known as career readiness. We also call them the competencies, right? So when you think of competencies, what are you competent in? What are you skilled in, right? So we're all developing these 8 skills, right? So you might feel like you're like, oh, I don't have all these yet. I don't know if anybody really does, but just being aware of what's out there, and again, what are you good at? All right, so making the most of your role. Think about the job or jobs that you're in right now. And try to reflect and think on, what are you learning? What are the skills that you have? What are some new things that you've learned, right? Next one, what about things that have been challenges, right? Things that you had to get through, to persevere through, right? Maybe you were really nervous when you first started the job. A lot of people are, right? When you're in a new setting, new job, new class, new roommate, new work setting, right? New social circle. It's totally okay to be nervous and all that, but think about maybe where you started and where you are right now. Right, so skill-wise, think of both technical and what's called as like soft skills or interpersonal skills. Might be an interpersonal trait or personal quality that you have that maybe you know that you have it, or maybe other people have told you. Maybe you're a natural leader. Maybe you have a really good personality and you're kind of like, I get along with everybody or whatnot, or things like that. All right, so this one, these are just a couple questions to further get you thinking on this topic. So professionalism. Which of the following best demonstrates professionalism in a student employment role? All right, how about the next one? Which behavior reflects strong workplace professionalism? Yeah, so we, using a professional tone, both in person and in emails. Do you know what we mean by that when we say professional tone? We have had, the reason I say it, we've seen this we see these things play out, right? We see this, we get feedback from employers, but again, we've had student workers over the years. We had a student worker a few years ago where the student was sick and sent an email, and it was not.
It wasn't appropriate.
No, I feel like
those are types of things that you really
these
have
really
to be careful
happen,
about,
yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
you work in a professional setting, you've got to be a professional. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
A professional way of not to do things, right?
Right. So this student, Valerie had a conversation with the student, and
But we remember too that some of you, this is probably your first job. I mean, how many of you is this your first job ever? Nobody.
wow.
That's surprising.
Yeah.
This student, I think, was their first job.
All right. Next one. How should you respond to constructive feedback from your supervisor? So in other words, supervisor maybe might mention something that they want you to do differently next time, or something like that. How should you respond? What would you say is the best response? C. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think feedback just in general, I don't know if anybody really loves it, you know what I mean? Might be also known as criticism or critique. But, I mean, it is what it is, right? For the most part, I think it's part of learning and growing, and again, being a professional. All right, again, making the most of your role on campus, right? We talked about building skills, thinking about the skills, thinking about things you've overcome, challenges. How about keeping track of your projects and accomplishments, right? Things that you've done really well. And this is for coursework, Alfred State, but also, again, think on-campus job.
Yeah, how many office, they showed us when I go to the other day.
Yeah, it's great. This is all great. Yeah, keep a running list. You might, you want to keep track of these things, right? And then it's always neat to go back and look back on them and be like, oh, wow, I did that. Right, so try to, one of the things that we suggest is trying to keep track of projects, accomplishments, things that you're proud of, right? And especially if you can have something where it's like measurable or like numbers related. This is a brief example towards the bottom. Anybody here work for student engagement? Do you? Okay. Does this hit home? Organized? Right, yeah. So this would be an example of it being measurable or what they call is quantifiable, right? Organized 3 campus events with 200 plus attendees each. That's just a brief example, but all right. Valerie mentioned list your on-campus job on your resume, right? Don't be thinking that, oh, it's not related to my major, right? It doesn't look very good, right? We suggest you list it, as much experience as possible. Action verbs, right? So when you're describing what your responsibilities were, what you accomplished, what you achieved, these are some examples of action verbs. They're strong, and it gives a really good example of what you actually did or accomplished. So things like managed, developed, coordinated, improved. Definitely want to use these words. I talked about that, measurable results, numbers, percentages, outcomes. NACE competencies, those are the top 8 skills employers are seeking in new college grads, right? Those top 8 skills. Here's a job description, and I want you to, hopefully you can read it. I don't know about if the people in the back. Identify some of the strong action verbs, right? Or some measurable achievements in here. All right, so this is a student resume that included their on-campus job, if you can see it. A lot of bullets here, right? If you notice that, under experience. Alfred State College Student Success Center, served as a peer tutor, right? So this is, is anybody in a peer tutor role right now? Okay, very good. Listed on your resume, right? What are some skills that you think you've picked up from being a peer tutor? So a lot of these peer tutor, off the top of my head, leadership, right? Communication, teamwork, right? Critical thinking, problem solving. You probably have to adjust how you're being a tutor depending on the student and how they learn, right? All right, evaluations. We know that not every on-campus job that students are receiving, evaluations, but who here have you had an evaluation in your on-campus job? Okay. Midterm or just like a mid or a final, just 1 or 2? So we're seeing that probably in the future that it's probably gonna be a regular part of having an on-campus job where you have an evaluation and your supervisor or manager is giving you feedback, right? And maybe in the beginning you're talking about what goals or things you want to achieve together with your manager, and then with your manager you help evaluate that, like how you did. Where can you get better? Where have you done really well? Right, so it's not just the constructive feedback or critique, so to speak, but it's also like what are you doing really well? All right, so these are some areas where supervisors commonly evaluate or quote unquote assess. Like I have an evaluation, Valerie has an evaluation. It happens everywhere, right? If any type of position that you're in, for the most part, it should be. So we all have them. The president, our president of the college gets evaluated, right? So, and up and up. Everybody that's working typically gets evaluated on how you're doing, right? So these are some common areas. Professionalism is a big one. Reliability, right? Being on time, right? How do you work with others? Initiative, right? Anybody feel like you're showing initiative in your current job on campus? When I say initiative, what do you think of? Yes? And then communication, that word communication again, right? Can you communicate? These are just some things to how to prepare, right? Again, keep track of your accomplishments. What did you contribute in your role, right? And again, that reflect on challenges. Be ready to discuss specific examples, right? Again, that show your skills that you have. Think of examples. What skills do you feel you're good at? And think about if you were to tell a story or give an example of that particular skill, think about what you would say to give an example. This can be challenging for a lot of people. Try to separate, again, criticism from constructive feedback. It can be kind of a challenge, but try your best to do it, right? Kind of like the college athletes that are here today, right? You're getting coached, right? Maybe your college coach is harder, so to speak, than maybe your high school or if you played travel ball coach, right? So it's almost like coaching, right? They're going to try to bring out the best in you. So if you think about it that way. All right, so we have a few slides left, but summary, these are just, again, build your career toolkit, right? These are some things. View your on-campus job as to where it can take you and what the skills, again, that you're building. We suggest you list it on your resume, your on-campus job or your multiple jobs. And again, make a list of your skills that you're either developing or you feel like you're really good at. Projects, accomplishments, again, those NACE career readiness competencies, again, top 8 skills, right? And building professional connections or references. So you might, students that work in our office, a lot of times we serve as professional references for them, and we can help them get their first position out of college when they graduate. So think about it in that way too. You're building those connections, references. Maybe it's your manager, maybe it's another professional staff person that you connected with, that you helped with. These are all really good people that can help you get that first position out of college. All right, these are some suggestions for this semester. Like Valerie mentioned earlier, attend our events. I've got those in the next few slides. We have a lot of online resources. I have a slide on that so I can show you so you can know what's available to you. And we're celebrating National Student Employment Week. That's actually a thing, right? It really is National Student Employment. So college students that are working on campus, this is a thing, and we're working to celebrate that this semester. So look for information. It's held the week of April 12th through the 18th. We want to make this really important and show appreciation for students that are working on campus. We appreciate our student workers, right? So we're trying to build that here at Alfred State. All right, so resources. We have a lot of online resources available to you. These are, they're all technology resources, so to speak. First one's JobLink. Student employment jobs are on there. Full-time jobs, internships, career fair information. You could schedule an appointment through JobLink. Different events that we're hosting are on there. Next one we have is Pathway U. Anybody heard of Pathway U or utilize it in a class yet? You have? Okay. So this is like a career exploration site. You answer all these questions. They're called career assessments. It's not a test. It's just a questionnaire. And it'll tell you what your personality style is, what your top interests are, what your work values are, and it'll give you career matches based on how you answered the questions. So really neat if you want to check these out. Third one is Skills First. This has been really popular with our students for several years. Really high tech. There's a resume builder with an AI component built into it. There's cover letter samples, e-portfolio. You could do a practice interview, and then there's an AI component where after you answer the questions and record yourself, it'll give you feedback. A lot of different neat stuff on there. Other tools we have, Candid Career, thousands of career videos. So if you're curious about the major that you're in and what you can do with it, if you're curious about a certain job title, you can literally do a quick search, and these career videos will come up. They're real people talking about their real jobs and what it's like, so that can give you some insight, okay? And lastly, it's Big Blue's Career Closet.
So have any of
So yeah, we want you to utilize our resources. Even after you graduate, you can have access to these, but not the clothing closet. So, but everything else you can utilize. These are events. Go to our events. These are ways to put yourself out there, so to speak, right? This is where you can talk with employers, learn about your career path, learn about your major.
And we're always looking for help with any of those events, even if it's to help employers to their tables or things like that. And that's a perfect time to speak to employers before they get in front of all the students.
Very good. Yeah, so these are events for the semester. Medical majors, that's Friday, February 13th. Alfred campus up in Orvis. We had 130 employers, most ever, in the fall, so we're probably expecting about the same. So we bring the employers to you, so to speak, so they're all there, right? You can talk to them. Lastly, before you leave, if you could just scan your phone, just do a quick, it's just a quick questionnaire before you depart.
And this is really just showing that you were all here.
Just take a couple minutes with that. It's basic questions.